Who's actually going to get the most out of a 27-inch 5K panel, and who would be better off putting their money elsewhere? Is the price justified for someone who just wants a decent desktop upgrade, or does it only make sense for power users who need that extra pixel density and color fidelity? If you're on the fence, stick around. I'm going to break down the real-world experience, the hidden trade-offs, and where the value really lives. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest source of hesitation for most buyers is the price tag. This isn't a budget-friendly monitor. It sits squarely in the premium tier, and the justification has to come from daily workflow, not just headline specs. The LG Ultrafine 27MD5KL is marketed almost exclusively as a Mac-centric display, and that positioning is intentional. If you're a Windows-only user, you'll quickly discover you're missing out on the seamless macOS integration that this monitor was built around, which can feel like buying a sports car that only runs on a specific type of fuel. Let's talk about the actual setup you'll be dealing with. You connect the monitor to a MacBook Pro or iMac via a single Thunderbolt 3 cable, and in one go, you get video, data, and up to 94 watts of power delivery. In practice, that means you can keep your laptop on your desk, docked, and still have a full-size keyboard and mouse without a tangled mess of cords. I've seen creators who spend 8 hours a day on video editing or photo retouching praise the convenience of a single cable workstation, and that convenience translates into less desk clutter and fewer points of failure. Now, the pixel density. At 51202880, the screen crams an incredible amount of detail into a 27-inch footprint. For graphic designers, 3D modelers, or anyone who works with high-resolution assets, the difference is noticeable when you zoom into fine textures or line work. In a real-world test editing raw photos, the extra pixels let you see subtle gradations in shadows that would be smeared on a 4K panel. That said, if your day-to-day consists of spreadsheets, email, or browsing the web, you're unlikely to notice a dramatic improvement over a good 4K or even a high-quality 1440p monitor. Color accuracy is another area where the Ultrafine tries to stand out. It covers 99% of the DCI-P3 Gamut and delivers 500 nits of brightness, which is more than enough for most indoor lighting conditions. When you're grading video for broadcast or printing work that requires tight color tolerances, having that wide color space in a factory-calibrated panel can shave minutes off your workflow. However, the monitor does not come with a built-in hardware calibrator, so if you need the absolute tightest delta E values, you'll still have to invest in an external calibrator. For most pros, though, the out-of-the-box performance is already within acceptable limits. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is the trio of USB-C ports. They let you connect a mouse, a card reader, and a secondary drive without reaching for a hub. In a typical content creation rig, I've seen people plug a USB-C SSD directly into the monitor and have it show up as an external drive on their Mac, freeing up the laptop's ports for other peripherals. The convenience factor is real, but it comes with a caveat. The ports share bandwidth with the display signal, so you'll notice a slight slowdown if you're transferring large video files while also driving the 5K display. It's not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of if you're moving terabytes daily. Battery life on the host laptop is also affected. The 94W power delivery is generous enough to keep a 16-inch MacBook Pro charged, but the monitor itself draws a fair amount of power to sustain that 5K panel. In real-world usage, the laptop's charger will still be plugged in most of the time, which defeats the purpose of a mobile setup. If you're looking for a truly portable workstation, the Ultrafine is more of a desktop anchor than a travel companion. On the flip side, there are a few practical weaknesses that buyers should weigh carefully. The stand is fairly minimal. It offers tilt adjustment, but no height, swivel, or pivot. If you need an ergonomic setup that lets you raise the screen to eye level, you'll have to buy an aftermarket arm, which adds to the total cost. Also, the monitor's native refresh rate is locked at 60 Hz. For gamers or anyone who wants buttery smooth scrolling, that can feel limiting compared to 144 Hz panels. The target audience here is clearly creators, not competitive gamers. Pricing also ties into the value proposition. Because the monitor is bundled with a Thunderbolt cable and a set of USB-C ports, you're essentially paying for a combined docking solution and display. If you already own a high-quality dock, you might feel you're double paying for the same ports. Conversely, if you're buying a new MacBook and need a one-cable desktop, the cost starts to make more sense. The question becomes, does the convenience of a single cable, high-resolution, color-accurate workspace outweigh the premium you're shelling out? Another